Hey guys, it's IT Ops Guy, and it's time to install Microsoft SQL on our SQL virtual machine. Now I just simply pulled up Edge on my virtual machine and I searched for Microsoft SQL Express, and it took me straight to this page where I could download it. And I elected to download the files so I could show you what the installation looks like. It gave me two files here. And so I've got this 64 ENU and I've got this guy right here. Now I'm going to go ahead and run this bottom option, which should run the Express Edition installer for me. And you can see that this is actually, well, if you can't tell, because it's only 4 meg in size, this is the small one. But all I did was I said, hey, I want to download media. I said where I wanted to download it to, and I clicked download. That gave me this file right here, which is significantly larger, about 560 megabytes in size. So let's go ahead and run this guy, and it's asking me, where do you want to extract to? Let's go ahead and extract right there, and it's extracting to this folder. And now it's going to go ahead and run the setup that's inside of it, but automatically for me. So I don't need to do anything except for to interact with this installer. So I'm going to say I have a new SQL Server that I want to install. And this is going to provide all of the database work for us. Everything that SolarWinds commits to the database is going to be done on this box. So I want to set up a multi-tier application. I don't want the polling engine and the data services on the same box. So I'm going to go ahead and accept the EULA. It's going to go ahead and do some checks. We can tell it to check for updates, but just for the sake of time, I'm going to tell it not to. It's checking all this stuff. It's telling me, hey, your Windows firewall generated a problem with remote access. That's okay. We'll enable that. So let's go ahead and say next. And of course, they're pushing Azure. You can install the Azure for SQL Server pack. We are not going to do that. So let's just go next. And one of the things that I want to make sure is installed is this full text search. Now for our little lab environment, probably won't matter very much. However, if you're sending a lot of syslogs and traps to SolarWinds, full text search is a must. Do not leave home without it. So let's go ahead and click next. We are going to do SQL Express. That is fine, not a problem. We could also just use the default instance of MS SQL Server. That is my preference, so that is what I'm going to do. And now it's asking us how we want to set up everything. So you can see the full text search here is set to manual. Everything else is automatic. I'm actually going to change the SQL browser to automatic as well. And now it's saying, hey, we need you to set up a password. Now I'm going to do mixed mode authentication because I like having that SA password just in case. If for some reason, since my domain controller is a virtual machine, if for some reason I had a problem with it, I would want to know that I could still log in. So I'm just going to set an SA password. I'm giving my user, Ops Guy, access to the database as well. And now we start the installation. So I paused the video just for a minute because I didn't know how long this was going to take, but it's actually moving along at quite a good pace. So let's just let it play out, and if it takes more than 10 seconds or so, I'll pause it till the end. All right, that's looking really good. Looks like it's almost finished, or at least on the Microsoft timeline, it looks like it's almost finished. Alright, so that took quite a while. I ended up pausing the video because the Microsoft timeline showed it at 100% for about a minute and a half. But you can see that everything was installed, which is perfect. So let's go ahead and close this installer. The other thing that I'm going to want to do is be able to interact with this database. And so I need the SQL Management Studio tools. And so it's going to go ahead and take me out to an article where I can download SSMS, or SQL Server Management Studio. And luckily Microsoft Server is pretty darn quick, so it's coming right along. And as soon as it's done, we'll go ahead and start that install. So let's go ahead and open the file. And let's get the SQL Server Management Studio as well, so we can interact with the database and we're not completely dependent on Solarwinds tools. Alright, that installation completed. It's telling me to go ahead and restart, so let's go ahead and do that. And when it comes up, we'll just double check the services. And we will check the database. So let's go log in as Ops Guy. And we're getting the SQL services. Now you can see that SQL Server is currently stopped. My guess is it is still starting. So that's the guy we're looking at. So still stopped. What I want to look at real quick is just this guy. So it is set to automatic on a delayed start. So good to know. If your SQL box reboots, SQL is going to take a little bit to restart. You see we're only using 1.6 gigabytes of our available 16 gig, so just 10%. When that SQL service starts, it will take up pretty much the other 90, maybe about 85% of it. All right, now we can see that SQL Server is running. So that's this line right here. So let's go ahead and see if our management tool, whoops, wrong one. Sorry, got a little click happy with the mouse. There we go, Management Studio. And let's see what this looks like. Now I should be able to use both my domain account and the SQL SA account to log in. So right now it's trying to use only my domain account, and it does not like that. Let's say optional. There we go. And let's look at security logins. You can see I have an SA and an Ops Guy account. And if we're looking at databases, we don't have any right now. We've got the system databases, but no others. So this is a blank SQL Server, just brand new install. Perfect. That's it. That is getting SQL installed on a machine ready to use. So more to come. Just keep looking out for more videos. Have a good one.